All right, fellow survivors, grab your green herbs and ready your typewriters because we've got some juicy intel on Resident Evil 9. The rumor mill is turning faster than a liquor on a caffeine rush, and if these leaks are to be believed, we're in for a wild ride. We've got new details, old whispers, canceled concepts, dev drama, and a whole lot of speculation about what could be Capcom's most ambitious horror game yet.
No tutorials, no mercy, just BitCrush.
Welcome to BitCrush, the cry, where your save file cries for help.
The origins, from multiplayer madness to solo terror. Let's rewind to 2017. Back then, Capcom was cooking up an idea for a Resident Evil multiplayer game set on a mysterious island heavily inspired by Southeast Asia, specifically Singapore. The idea was to have Leon S. Kennedy and Jill Valentine take the lead, possibly in a co-op style open-world horror setting. Sounds wild, right? But like all good nightmares, this one died in pre-production. Reports say the concept got scrapped early on, paving the way for a new, more traditional Resident Evil entry. Capcom shifted gears and decided to go back to what fans craved most: solo survival horror with thick atmosphere and complex lore. That's when Resident Evil 9, as we know it today, really started taking shape, and allegedly it's been in development for over 5 years now. The big leaks, where it all started. Fast forward to 2024. That's when MP1 First dropped the first real bombshell. Resident Evil 9 is not just real, it's dropping its first trailer this week. Summer Game Fest on June 6th is the prime suspect, but there's a twist. PlayStation's State of Play is scheduled for June 4, and Xbox Showcase is heating up on June 9th. So where will the undead rise? YouTuber Screenfire Gaming backed this up, citing sources who claim that RE9 will be revealed at SGF and will aim for a Q1 2026 release, likely March. Why March? Because that's the 30th anniversary of the Resident Evil franchise, and you know Capcom loves anniversaries more than Wesker loves sunglasses. Double confirmation and insider buzz. MP1 First later confirmed that their own independent sources said something big is coming this week. They weren't 100% certain it's called Resident Evil 9, but it's the next big game in the franchise. That was enough to send the community into a frenzy. Subreddit threads exploded, forums ignited, and fan art was born overnight. Then Insider Gaming joined the chaos. Their go-to source, Dusk Golem, a name that haunts the Resident Evil fandom like a ghost in the Spencer Mansion, claimed he was 95% sure the game would be shown at SGF. Not a full 100%, but let's be real. If Dusk Golem coughs, fans start buying for estate sprays. He noted a spike in Capcom's internal activity and social media buzz, both telltale signs that something big is about to drop. He even said this level of behind-the-scenes movement always happens right before a major reveal. Add that to the fact that Capcom's been sitting on RE9 for half a decade, and it starts feeling less like speculation and more like inevitability. Settings and vibes. Where is RE9 taking us? According to Dusk Golem and other insiders, Resident Evil 9's setting is an open-world environment inspired by the forests and temples of Southeast Asia, maybe a fictional island country. Think dense jungles, ancient ruins, haunted villages, and bioterror gone rogue. The working title? Resident Evil Apocalypse. Apparently, the game will feature folklore-inspired monsters instead of your usual zombies. Leaked enemy types include shadowy creatures that mimic human voices and demonic forest spirits. And if that's true, we're heading into a darker, more mythological chapter of Resident Evil, like Resident Evil meets Fatal Frame. And it's not just spooky trees. The game will supposedly lean into psychological horror with a day-night cycle that changes enemy behavior. Think more freedom, fewer loading screens, and tension that builds the longer you survive. Capcom wants this to be their scariest Resident Evil yet. Who's in? Leon, Jill, Chris, maybe all of them. Reports are mixed, but it's likely RE9 will feature a new protagonist with possible cameos from fan favorites. The story is rumored to take place after Resident Evil Village, possibly wrapping up the modern saga and laying the groundwork for something entirely new. It's also suggested that the game is being built on RE Engine, Capcom's powerhouse framework that made RE7, RE2 Remake, and RE Village so impressive. Visuals will probably be next-gen only, meaning PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Sorry last-gen players, this one's not limping on a PS4. The platforms and publishing deals. Here's where it gets spicy. Capcom and Sony had a marketing deal for big Resident Evil titles, but that deal ended in 2024. This means Capcom is now a free agent and could technically debut RE9 at any major show. PlayStation? Sure. Xbox? Why not? Summer Game Fest? Absolutely. This also opens the door for Microsoft to make a move, maybe snag a Game Pass deal or at least claim reveal rights at their showcase. But don't expect RE9 to land on Game Pass day one. Capcom knows its value, and RE9 isn't exactly an indie game looking for exposure. The timing. When do we play? The most common release prediction is March 2026, right in time for the anniversary. But let's not ignore the delays. Dusk Golem has already said the game was delayed twice, and insiders believe the original target might have been 2024. Given how Capcom operates, expect a slow marketing burn starting this year and ramping up in 2025. And if we don't get the reveal this week, well, it might be a long wait until the Game Awards in December or even mid-2025. Worse, if they want to avoid clashing with GTA 6, which drops May 2025, they may delay the whole thing until late 2026. What BitCrush thinks. Here's our take. Best case scenario, RE9 gets revealed during State of Play with a full cinematic trailer. Then Summer Game Fest gives us a gameplay teaser or extended demo footage. Xbox Showcase might even sneak in a coming to all platforms stinger. Everyone wins, horror fans eat, gamers rejoice, and we finally get something that isn't a remake. Worst case, crickets, and we all have to go back to pretending Resident Evil Resistance was a good idea. Let's hope Capcom doesn't let that happen. Alright, Horror Squad, now it's your turn. Where do you think RE9 is going to show up? And are you hyped for jungle demons and folklore frights? Hit that like button like it's a crimson head lunging at your face. Subscribe so you don't miss the reveal, and drop your predictions in the comments. This is BitCrush, keeping your pulse up, your ammo stocked, and your flashlight flickering.